It's been 10 years. However, Tony called me out of the blue, and I couldn't help but wonder what he wanted from me. To my surprise, he says something shocking. I'm going back to your home with my wife, so you need to leave. That place belongs to us. I couldn't believe what I heard. I decided to set the record straight for Tony, who was still living in a fantasy world. Our family home will never be in your hands. My name is Andrea Jones, and I'm a 34-year-old office worker. Although I'm currently single, I was actually married once to a guy named Tony, who, to be honest, was quite unbearable to even think about. We met at work when I was 23, and he was 22 as a new employee. As his mentor, I told him the ropes, and we ended up working together on several projects. Tony was an energetic and lively new hire with a great sense of humor, and we had a lot of fun working together. One day, after a company drinking party, he approached me and said, "Andrea, would you like to go on a date with me? I've been quite interested in you." I was taken aback, but I agreed, and we began dating. We had a great time together during our relationship. He would take me to various fun places for dates, not just the usual spots, but also some hidden gems. We had great conversations, and he always made me laugh. I found myself increasingly drawn to him. We continued dating without any problems, but about 6 months into our relationship, I found out I was pregnant. "You are pregnant?" "Yeah, I'm 9 weeks pregnant. I'm so happy to become a father, but we are not even married yet." "Of course, we'll get married. Now that we have a child, let's start our happy family together." Hearing him say that, I felt relieved and happy, and so we decided to get married. When we told our parents, they were surprised that we became pregnant before getting married, but were reassured by the fact that we worked at the same company. We went to his parents first to ask for their blessing, but instead they apologized and said, "We're sorry that our son has caused you trouble." Then his mother said, "Please take care of him, Andrea." "Mom, normally it's the husband who is responsible for taking care of his wife." "No, you're easy to get carried away, so Andrea needs to hold the reins on you." "Hey, haha." Tony and his parents seems to get along well, and I felt happy about that. If he grew up in such a family, I was sure he would care for our child, and we can become a happy family. I imagine our future with hope. Then came today to visit my parents and ask for their blessing. "Nice to meet you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. I'm Tony, and I want to marry your daughter. I apologize for changing the order of things, but I'm promised to take responsibility and build a happy family." He bowed and apologized. My parents weren't really angry, but they seemed to trust him more because of his courteous introduction. At that moment, "I'm home." "Welcome back, Christina. We have a guest." "Yes, remember? I told you that Andrea's fiancé visiting today." "Oh, was that today? Come over here and introduce yourself." "All right." My sister Christina came along, chatting happily with my mother. "Nice to meet you. I'm Andrea's sister, Christina." "Oh, Tony? Wait, you two know each other?" "We were in the same club at the same university." "Oh, really?" I was surprised by her statement and looked at Tony, and he nodded in agreement. My sister was 21 at the time, and her senior in college, and she and Tony were in the same club, with Tony being her senior by 1 year. "It's a small world," I said, surprised, "just like the two of them." "Whoa, I can't believe you are Andre's sister. I was also surprised that you're my sister's fiancé, Tony. Our last name in John's a very common name, so I guess it's hard to tell we are sisters. If Christina already knows Tony, then it's like he's already family, my father said, and my mother smiled kindly. Thus, the marriage greetings ended in a friendly atmosphere. The dinner party for both families' greetings was also enjoyable, and we got married and became husband and a wife. I went on maternity leave as I was pregnant and focused on household chores while enjoying our newlywed life. Every day, I made lunch boxes for my husband, cleaned the house, cooked dinner, and waited for him to come home. I love my job, so I planned to return to work after my maternity leave. But I also thought it would be nice to experience being a housewife like this. It is probably the most peaceful and relaxed time to enjoy our newlywed life, since it will become quite hectic once the baby arrives. Tony seems to be busy with work, and some days he came home late, but we were happy to spend our weekends together. Soon after, I went into labor and gave birth to our beautiful baby girl. Tony was very happy to meet his daughter. She is so cute. She's like an angel, he said, holding our daughter. I thought he would be a great dad as I smiled at him. After that, I was discharged from the hospital and returned home to focus on child rearing while on maternity leave. I felt so happy just by spending time with my adorable daughter every day. Of course, there are difficult times like the baby crying at night, but she was so cute that nothing bothered me. Except for one thing. It was that my husband return home was getting later and later every day. Even before, he often came home after 10 p.m. when work was busy. But recently, he had started coming home after midnight or around 2 a.m. As these days increased, I got a little frustrated. After all, it's tough with a newborn baby, and just having my husband at home makes me feel at ease. One day, I expressed my dissatisfaction to my husband. Hey, are you really that busy with work? I've only been working for about 2 years, but even during the busy season, I wasn't that busy. My husband looked troubled. Well, I have to work this much or I won't finish my work. Besides, I have to work hard and earn money for us now, right? That's true, but I couldn't say anything more when he said that. And on weekends, he seems tired and just slept in his room all day, only coming to the living room during meal times. He didn't play with our daughter much, and he was different from the husband I had envisioned. But if work was busy, there was nothing I could do but accept it. But in the midst of all this, I found out a shocking fact from a colleague at work who contacted me. The call came during the day. Hey, isn't this Tony? My colleague was apparently off that day, and she came to town to do some shopping. She saw my husband dressed in a suit, walking with a woman she didn't know, and she took a picture and sent it to me. What? Are you kidding me? I was so shocked when I saw the person in the photo that my head went completely blank. The woman next to my husband was my sister Christina. The two of them were holding hands affectionately, and it didn't look like they were just relatives. Furthermore, when my colleague secretly followed them, it seems that the two of them boldly entered the hotel in broad daylight. I felt as if my head had been hit with a blunt object when I heard about it. After that, I decided to hire a private investigator to confirm whether they were really having an affair. I still had a part of me that wanted to believe in my husband. However, it turned out that my husband was indeed having an affair with my sister. and several evidence photos were sent to me from the investigator. When I asked my colleague, she said that my husband hadn't been working overtime for the past few years and always left work on time. In other words, he had been lying to me and meeting with my sister all along. With the evidence in hand, I felt an indescribable anger toward my husband and sister. I immediately confronted my husband, showing him the evidence photos and asking him what he thought he was doing by having an affair with my sister. He couldn't deny it and eventually confessed. Christina was the one who came on to me. At first, we were meeting with a few friends from the university club, but then we started meeting alone. Before we knew it, we were meeting more than half of the week. That's enough. Do you think you can get away with doing something like this? I'm going to divorce you and make you pay alimony. I guess that's inevitable. Of course, I will make Christina pay too. Huh? He was very surprised when I said that. She is still a student and will graduate soon. It's too cruel to demand alimony from your own sister. I think the one who deserves the criticism from society is my sister, who slept with her sister's husband. If you don't want to burden Christina, then you should pay for both of you. Considering the going rate, it would be around $70,000 for two people. $70,000? That's outrageous. You did something that warrants that kind of payment. You are going to take responsibility for your actions. When I said that, he turned pale. Anyway, let's talk about this thoroughly next time. He said that, and we agreed to have a discussion with both families present. He said he would stay in a business hotel for a while. So I was left to live with my daughter and think about our future. And so, we decided to have a discussion about it at my parents' house over the weekend. But my husband and sister didn't show up. This surprised not only me, but also our parents and my in-laws. We were truly sorry about this. It's bad enough that he's causing you trouble, but not showing up to this meeting is beyond our comprehension. They said, apologizing profusely. Well, our daughter's not here either, so we are both at fault. They also expressed their concern for me. Who was the main victim in this situation? If the two of them continue to be unresponsive, we'll pay the compensation for you, and we'll also cover the child support payments. My in-laws apologized deeply once again, and my parents paid me the compensation that my sister was supposed to pay. I felt uneasy about receiving money from my parents, but they assured me that they would find my sister and make her pay, so I didn't have to worry. Honestly, as a single mother who has to raise my daughter, I could use all the money I could get, so I was grateful. In the end, we couldn't reach either Tony or Christina. I also went to Tony's workplace, but he had apparently submitted his resignation letter and quit. Christina had just graduated from college and planned to become a part-time worker as she hadn't found a real job yet. I knew she was mobile, but I never thought my husband would abandon everything and elope with her. After that, I lost all contact with them. Later, a pre-filled divorce form was sent to me, which made me angry, but I signed it and submitted it immediately. As Tony has resigned from his job, I decided to return to work after my maternity leave. My colleagues sympathized with me and supported me, saying that it would be difficult, but I should hang in there. From then on, I worked hard to raise my daughter. I sometimes received help from my parents to raise her, and we made a lot of memories together. Before I knew it, 10 years had passed, and my daughter had grown up to be a wonderful girl. Amidst that, I received a call from an unknown number. I felt uneasy, wondering who it could be. But since it could be a work-related person, I decided to answer it. Then, to my surprise, I heard the voice of a certain person. Andrea, it's me, Tony. Huh? The person on the phone was my ex-husband. It had been 10 years since then. I couldn't help but wonder what he wanted from me. How are you doing? What do you mean? You calling me isn't going to end well. How are your parents doing? What's it to you? Why do you even care about my parents? They're also Christina's parents. What's wrong with worrying about my wife's parents? My ex-husband said that. I see. He married my sister. But I have a feeling he's up to something. I should be careful and probe for more information. My parents passed away. They both died from an illness. Seriously? Then what about your family's home? I inherited it. Then, my ex-husband made a surprising statement. I'm going back to your home with my wife, so you need to leave. I couldn't believe what I heard. What are you talking about? I said I inherited it. I'm saying that Christina and I are going to live there, so you need to leave. Also, why are you the one who inherited the home? Doesn't Christina have the right to inherit it too? I hope you're joking. After betraying our family like that, how could she possibly have the right to inherit anything? Don't be ridiculous. I won't accept that. We just had a kid recently, so we are going to turn her family's home into our home. I decided to set the record straight for Tony, who was still living in a fantasy world. Our family's home will never be in your hands. What do you mean? Like I've been saying, I inherited it. And then, I heard a woman's voice, probably my younger sister's. Hey sis, I won't allow you to inherit the house without my permission. We need to talk about the inheritance too. I didn't really want to deal with them anymore. But then, I came up with an idea. I guess we have to talk about it then. I told them to meet me at the coffee shop I specified. And there, I met my ex-husband and sister for the first time in 10 years. Both of them looked shabby, as if they were struggling to make a living. Christina and Tony asked only about the inheritance and the inheritance of the house. I was amazed that they didn't seem to feel sad that our parents had passed away. Actually, the story about our parents' death was a lie. They are living in a different house now. They had sold the old family home so that Christina couldn't return. But I didn't mention that fact, and I just nodded along with their talk. Christina said, "We'll leave it to you to divide the inheritance then." And they left the coffee shop. That was the beginning of my plan. An hour later, I received a call from a friend who had helped me with my plan. I had asked my friend to tell my sister and ex-husband to find out their current address. Once I got the address, I reported it to both sets of parents. Soon after, both sets of parents and I rushed to my sister's house. Why are you here? They were quite shocked by our sudden visit. Both sets of parents demanded reimbursement for the money they had paid in advance for consolation money and child support. "We don't have any money to pay you back. We'll be working part-time jobs and barely making ends meet." They said that, but our parents didn't forgive them. If that's the case, then you will have to consult with the police or a lawyer and figure out what to do. The word police and lawyer made my sister's and Tony's face turn pale. That's going to be a problem. If it's okay to pay little by little, we'll pay. So please forgive us, they pleaded while crying. My parents and in-law reluctantly agreed to the condition and told the two that if the payment was delayed, they would immediately take legal action. Christina and Tony fell to the ground with a defeated expression. Did they seriously think they could be forgiven after 10 years? They were really living in a fantasy world. It's a shame that the child has to be raised by such a couple. I can only pray that the child learns from their parents' mistakes. Meanwhile, I live happily with my lovely daughter and my parents. My daughter studies hard and happily tells me about her good grades at school. I plan to work hard so that she can continue to smile in the future. My sister and ex-husband were both lazy, so perhaps that's why they were attracted to each other. I was angry when they eloped and ran away, but I felt satisfied when they were finally found and couldn't run away anymore. Andrea was probably glad to have cut ties with such terrible people. I hope she and her daughter can continue to live happily with their parents. Thank you for watching until the end. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.